Om Agyanam Timnandasya Gyana Janashlakaya Chakshurvaltamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Vishnu Abhidhamana Bhutale Swarupam Kadamayan Dadati Sakadadrikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tathagam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Guru Sagartatam Sagarnavnatham Tam Sajivam Sadhavatam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Ram Sagandita Shiv Shankartam Sanamam Vishnu Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Om Agyanam Timnandasya Gyana Janashlakaya Chakshurvaltamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swarupam Kadamayan Dadati Sakadadrikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamlam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagardatam Sagarnagunatam Tam Sakivam Sadhuvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishpadam Sagarnalita Shiv Sakavitam Cha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisheshune Dipasa Deshitarane He Krishna Kruda Sandhu Dina Bandhu Jayapate Gopesh Gopekanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Shri Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatru Vyasya Kripasinduve Vijayapatpada Pavane Priveshane Gunagana Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dashi Ravi Gaur Bhaktinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Prabhupada. Teachings of Lord Kapila. Yes, Prabhuji, यहाँ से start करना है. पढ़ेंगे आप?
मुझे पढ़ना है.
Yes, Prabhuji, आप start कर दीजिए.
ओके, ठीक है प्रभु. ब्रह्मभूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोषति न कांक्षति तमा सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते परम. One who is thus transcendental, situated at one's realization, one realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully enjoyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhakti is obtainable for a liberated person. It is not for the conditioned soul. How is this possible? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mam cha yo avyavicharena Mam cha yo avyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate so guna samyetan brahma bhuya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any transcendence the modes of material nature of Brahman. Hare Krishna.
Meghna Mataji.
We must engage in the 9 processes of the devotional services, the first of which is hearing, sarvana. Then, under the direction of the spiritual master and the shastras, one can immediately become a liberated person, but does not have to endeavor separately to become liberated. If he if he immediately engages in devotional service, one must have a firm conviction that he is engaged in Krishna's service and is free from all the material contamination. This is imperative. This word tattva marga darshanam are el- el- elucid- nahi, elu- elucidated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmameti, Pramameti, Pramatmeti Bhagwanam. Iti Shabdyate. The absolute truth is understood differently according to the position of the student. Some understand the absolute truth as impersonal Brahma, some as localized Paramatma, and others the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna or Vishnu. Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan, the supreme personality of Godhead, are not different. They are simply different aspects of the complete Godhead. Looking at the mountain from the distance, we may see a hazy cloud, and if we come nearer we may see something green. If we actually climb the mountain, we would find many houses, trees, and animals. Our vision is of the same mountain, but due to our different position, we see haze, greenery, or ver, uh, vari,
Variegated.
variegated variegatedness. In the final stage, there is a varieties, trees, animal, men, houses, and so on. The absolute truth is not without variety. Just as there is material variety, there is spiritual variety. Because the Mayavadi philosophers are seeing the absolute truth from a distance, they think that the absolute truth has no variety. They consider variety to be material, thus, this is a misunderstanding. This absolute truth is described as variegated in Brahma Samhita 5.2.9. चिंतामणि प्रकारा सद्मासु कल्पवृक्षा लक्ष्य सेतु सुराभिर
Palayam.
अभिपलायन्तम लक्ष्मी सहस्र सता संब्रह्म सेवामयम गोविंदम आदिपुरुष तम अहम भजामि. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, fulfilling all desires in their boards, built with spiritual gems, and surrounded by millions of desired trees. He is always served with a great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune.
Mm. Yes, Dhananjay Prabhuji.
There are Vaikuntha planets in spiritual world and there are devotees who are all liberated. These devotees are Akshara, which means they do not fall down into the material world. They remain in the spiritual world of the Vaikunthas, and they are also persons like us, but they are eternal persons, complete with full knowledge and bliss. This difference between them and us, that is Tattvagyan. Unless we understand the variegatedness of the absolute truth, there is chance that we will fall down. It is not sufficiently simply to stick to the indefinite, impersonal feature of the absolute truth.
Yes, Prabhuji, please continue. Dhananjay Prabhuji.
Continue करना है क्या?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
आरोह्य कृच्छेन परम पदम तथा पतन्त्योदो नाधृता यस्मात् अनुग्रहय Bhagavatam 10th canto 2nd chapter 30 and verse. Because the impersonalists are not allowed to enter the Vaikuntha planets, they simply remain in Brahman effulgence. Thus they fall down again into material variety. We have seen many impersonalist sannyasis who first of all give up the world as false. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. They consider themselves Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. Consider the world false and having nothing more to do with material world. Finally, I have become Narayan. Then they come to the stage of Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan. They become Narayan. But for want of anything to do better, for want of raggedness, they take up material humanitarian activities. Although they consider their wives mithya false, they return. You have already left. Why do you come back again? The wives ask. This means that these so-called sannyasis have nothing to do. They undergo serious penances and austerities to reach the platform of impersonal Brahman, but because there is no pleasure, they again descend to enjoy material variety.
We may build a nice spaceship and send it off into space, and the astronauts may go up there and fly in the impersonal sky. But eventually they will become tired and pray to God. Please let us return to land. We have read that the Russian astronauts were simply missing Moscow while they were traveling in space. This impersonal traveling is actually very agitating. Similarly, impersonal realization of the absolute truth cannot be permanent because one wants variety. A fall down is inevitable. When one gentleman read my book, Easy Journey to the Planets, he became very enthusiastic about going to other planets. Oh yes, I said we can go with this book. Yes, yes, the gentleman said. Then I shall come back. Why return? You should remain there. No, no, no. He said, I don't want to remain. I just want to go. I just want to go and come back. This is the enjoying mentality. Without variety, we cannot enjoy. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. And the Brahman realization of Paramatma realization does not give us steady Ananda. Yes. We want Ananda. Anandamayo Vihasyat. The living entities are Brahman. Krishna is Para Brahman. Krishna is enjoying perpetual Anand. And being part and parcel of Krishna, we also want Anand. Ananda cannot be impersonal or avoid. Ananda entails variety. No one is simply interested in drinking milk and eating sugar, but with milk and sugar we can make a variety of foods. Peda, barfi, khura, rabari, dahi, and so on. There are hundreds of preparations. In any case, variety is required for enjoyment. Just for you.
The last word of Tattva is to understand Krishna, who is full of variety. Kapil Dev is Tattva Ma Margagradarshanam. Margagradarshanam. He is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God, and he will explain to his mother what Tattva is, how one can approach the Tattva Jnana, and how one can actually enjoy Tattva Jnana. This is not simply dry speculation. This Krishna consciousness philosophy includes a spiritual variety. People sometimes misunderstand this variety to be material, and they hanker for Divishesh Nirakar, void. However, our philosophy is not void. It's full of variety and transcendental bliss. This will later be specifically enunciated by Lord Kapila.
Moving to the next chapter, chapter 6. Dev Bhuti desires transcendental knowledge. Yes, Mataji.
देव देवहूतिर युवचा निर्विना प्रभु जी आप प्लीज श्लोक पढ़ दीजिए.
देवहूतिर्वाचः निर्विना नितरां भूमन् असद इंद्रिय तर्सनात् येन संभाव्यामनेन प्रपन्नाधाम तमः प्रभो.
Translation. Devuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses, for because for because of this sense disturbance, my Lord have fallen into the abyss of
Ignorance.
क्या था प्रभु? Ignorance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here at the beginning of the Dehuti's questionings, the word Asad Indriya tar- Tarsanat is significant. Asat means impermanent, temporary. Indriya means senses, and Tarsanat reference to agitation. Thus, Asad Indriya Tarsanat means from being agitated by the temporary manifest senses of the material body. We are evolving through different species of material bodily existence, sometimes in a human body, sometimes in the animal body, and therefore the engagement of our material senses are also changes. Anything which changes is called temporary or asat. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered wi- which are now covered by the material body. This, the permanent senses being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. Devotional service therefore involves freeing the senses from this contamination. When the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of unalloyed Krishna consciousness, we have then attained Sad Indriya or internal sense activities. Internal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas temporary sensory activities are called sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, There is no opportunity to hear transcendental message from the person like Kapila. Dehuti expressed that she was tired, and now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instruction of Lord Kapila.
Yes.
The Vedic literatures describe the material world as darkness. Actually, it is dark and therefore we require sunlight, moonlight, and electricity. If it were not by nature dark, why would we require so many arrangements for artificial light? The Vedas enjoin that we should not remain in darkness. Tamsi ma jyotirgama, we are instructed to go to the light that is, and that light is the spiritual world, which is directly lightened by the effulgence or bodily rays of Krishna, as stated in Brahma Samhita, if chapter 40 verse. Yasya Prabhavo Jagadananda Kotisva Asesha Vishuddhadi Vibhuti Bhinnam Tat Brahman Nishkalam Anantam Asesha Bhutam Govindavadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, who is endowed with great power, glowing effulgence of his transcendental form is the personal Brahman, which is absolute, complete, and unlimited, which displays the varieties of countless planets with their different appearances in millions and millions of universes.
Hmm. Animals have no ability to know that they are in darkness, but human beings can know. Like Devahuti, an intelligent person should become disgusted with the darkness of knowledge. Na hanayate hanayamane sharire. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, sloka 20, there is neither birth nor death nor for the soul. The soul is not destroyed. When the body is annihilated, the soul puts bodies on and takes them off like clothes. This simple knowledge is instructed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, yet there are many big scholars and leaders who still cannot understand that the body is different from the person. This is because they do not study Bhagavad Gita in the proper way. Consequently, no one is fully aware or convinced that the real person is not the body. This is called darkness. And when one is disgusted with this darkness, human life begins. Yes, Hare Krishna.
One who has become disgusted with material existence needs the instruction of a guru. Tasmat guru prapadyeta jigyasa. Shreya Uttamam. Being the wife of a great yogi, Devahudi understood her constitutional position. Therefore, she is placing her problem before her son. Kapil, although Kapildev is her son, Devahudi does not hesitate to take instruction from him. She does not say, "Oh, he is my son. What can he tell me? I am his mother and I shall instruct him." Instruction has to be taken from the Lord. It doesn't matter what his position is, whether he is a son, a boy, a Shudra, Brahmana, Sannyasi, or Grasta. One should simply learn from one who knows. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was a Brahman and a sannyasi, he took instruction from Ramananda Rai, who was a Sudra and Grasta, but nonetheless very exalted spiritually. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that Ramananda Rai was hesitant to give instructions, the Lord says, "Why are you hesitating? Although you are a Grasta and are born in Sudra family, I am prepared to take lesson from you."
Yes, 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 please.
Kiva Vipra Kiva Nyashi Shudra Kene Naya Yei Krishna Tattvaveta Sai Guru Haya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 8 chapter 1st 2nd 28th verse. I think is Roji.
Okay.
This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Whoever is qualified in Krishna consciousness can become a guru. His family or material identity does not matter. He simply must know the signs. And we must and sorry When we consult an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer, we do not ask whether he is a brahman or a shudra. If he is qualified, we can help with the particular subject. Similarly, if one knows the science of Krishna, he can be a guru. Devuti was taking lessons from her son because he knew the science of Krishna. Even if gold is in the filthy place, we should take it. It is all stated in the Vedas. It is all stated also stated in the Vedas that if a girl is highly qualified or beautiful, she can be accepted in marriage, even though born in a lower family. Thus, it is not birth that is important, but qualification. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted everyone in India to know the signs of Krishna and preach Krishna consciousness. This is very simple. We need only repeat what Krishna has said and what has been said about Krishna in the Vedic literatures.
Hmm. Then,
Human society cannot be happy without Krishna consciousness. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and we are his servants. The master is enjoying, and the servants are helping the master enjoy. We living entities are eternal servants of God, and our duty is to help our master enjoy. Srimati Radharani is the topmost servant of Krishna, and her business is always to keep Krishna pleased. Krishna is very fond of Radharani because she renders best service. Her 64 qualifications are mentioned in the Vedic literatures. Unfortunately, in the material world, we are busy trying to enjoy our material senses. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 42nd verse, Indriyani, please scroll करेंगे.
yes, please.
Indriyani para paranyadhur इंद्रियेभ्यः परम मना मनसास्तु परबुद्धिर यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः. The working senses are superior to dull matter, and mind is higher than the senses. The intelligence is still higher than the mind, and the soul is even higher than the intelligence. The soul is on the spiritual platform, and on the material platform, we are interested in gratifying our senses. In this way, we become implicated in the laws of nature. As stated in the Shastras.
Yes,
Nu,
please
stop करना
continue.
है?
Yes, please continue, please.
नुमान परम मान थोड़ा ऊपर लिए.
एक second, please.
नुमान परमान कुरुते विकर्मा यद इंद्रियाणि प्रत्यया अपरनोति न साधु मन्ये यतो आत्मनो यम अस्नात् अपि क्लेशदा असा देहा. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living, engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it is not it is not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, 4th verse.
Living entities in this material world are very busy trying to gratify their senses. In the street, we see many dogs assembled for sex. This may seem very crude, but human beings are engaged in the same business. Perhaps in a more elaborate way. We should know that the sense gratification is meant for animals and that sense control is for human beings. By tapasya, penance, we can purify ourselves and regain our eternal life. So we can stop here. It's already 8:20, 6:25. And we can start with learning for realization. Yes, please. If anyone want to share something, then please take time.
Yes, Prabhuji, I like that point where anyone can take knowledge from anyone who knows. जैसे उन्होंने एग्जाम्पल पे दिया था चैतन्य महाप्रभु का एंड रामानंद राय का। तो रामानंद राय एक डिवोटी मतलब एक शूद्र होते हैं और एक नॉलेज और इतने मतलब एडवांस डिवोटी होते हैं। तो चैतन्य महाप्रभु खुद उनसे इंस्ट्रक्शन लेते हैं, मतलब क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं। और तो सनातन गोस्वामी भी होते हैं, वो सुनते हैं। तो इस तरह से नॉलेज ले सकते हैं। बस हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि ऑथराइज है और नॉलेजेबल है, मतलब उनको नॉलेज है कि नहीं।
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Anyone else? किसी को शेयर करना है? Realization, comments, learning, doubts.
I like one point कि प्रभुपाद ने एग्जाम्पल किया था कि डार्कनेस को रिमूव करने के लिए सनलाइट है, मूनलाइट और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है। तो which directly tells that we should not remain in darkness. इसलिए वेदास बोलते हैं तामसी माँ ज्योतिर्गमय, we have to go to the light, and that light is spiritual world, and which is enlightened by the Supreme Lord.
एक चीज पे और एक चीज पे प्रभुपाद और फोकस करा कि जो जैसे भगवान ने हमें अपने एंजॉयमेंट के लिए बनाया, एंड वी आर पार्सल ऑफ गॉड। तो हमारे अंदर भी वो प्रोपेंसिटी एंजॉय करने की। बट इसमें प्रभुपाद कहने की वैरायटी इज अ रूट कॉज व्हाई वी आर सफरिंग फॉर दिस एंजॉयमेंट। वी नीड वैरायटी। जैसे प्रभुपाद बोले, वैरायटी इज अ मदर ऑफ एंजॉयमेंट। क्योंकि हम किसी एक चीज में संतुष्ट नहीं है और हमें बहुत सारी चीजें चाहिए, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं, लेकिन उसकी वजह से हम कभी सेटिस्फाई नहीं हो सकते, बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट आवर एक्चुअल पोजीशन। आवर एक्चुअल पोजीशन टू सर्व कृष्णा। तो अगर हम वैरायटी के विशेष सर्कल में घुसते हैं तो वी कैन नेवर बी सेटिस्फाइड। हमें एक चीज मिलेगी, हम फिर वो चीज अकम्प्लिश कर लेंगे तो दूसरी के पीछे भागेंगे, दूसरे पीछे के भागेंगे, but this will go on and on. This will never end. So instead of going with variety, हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ में भी तो हमें अपने आप को इस चीज के लिए मतलब अपने आप को लिमिटेड करके चलना चाहिए, बिकॉज दिस विल नेवर गिव अस सेटिस्फेक्शन। और भगवान के अनुकूल जो भी है, जो भी जरूरी है, बस उस पर केंद्र करके अपना जीवन बिताना चाहिए। जिसमें जैसे कि प्रभुपाद कह रहे हैं कि जो ये जो मनुष्य जीवन जो मिला है, ये सेंसेस कंट्रोल करने के लिए मिला है, सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन के लिए नहीं मिला। अगर सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन के लिए मिला होता तो हमें भगवान जानवर पशु पक्षी कुछ भी बना देते। लेकिन मनुष्य जीवन मिला है तो सेंसेस कंट्रोल करने के लिए ही मिला है। तो हमें सेंसेस कंट्रोल करके ही जीवन को व्यतीत करना चाहिए, तभी मनुष्य मतलब दिस ह्यूमन लाइफ विल बी सक्सेसफुल। यस, दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड। Anyone want to add something? Okay, so we can stop. पंचकल्पतरु भैश्चाके परसंतु जगत नाम पवनेन्दु वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की। Thank you for joining everyone.
Jai.